And I've learned that I'm quite stubborn.
I thought you were literally going to say that I'm always right.
No, when we started dating, I was like, oh, are you with me for these reasons? Am I trying to tick a box? Is it just because you've never been with someone else? Or you were just so confused that I was saying any of those things.
Yeah.
It's just that I like you.
Crazy to me that it's a radical thing that interracial couples
Yeah.
are there and existing.
Your view of like you being the man of the house and stuff has influenced your view on yourself as a gay man.
What I thought it was to be a man and what it would mean to be in a relationship and me being masculine and all that sort of stuff has completely changed. I present in a certain way sometimes and you're like, why are you doing that?
People have fought so hard for the rights that we now have. And I just think the gay community and the queer community can be so much more than what the stereotype is.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Hey.
Who are you guys?
Where?
Chris.
And I'm Jacob.
Oh, hey Chris and Jacob.
That's like our kind of like a tagline, isn't it? It's like, I'm Chris, I'm Jacob, we're an interracial couple from London.
Oh my god.
Why Chris and Jacob, not Jacob and Chris?
Should I say this? Well, I feel like when we were, it was my like push to be like, let's go on social media, let's share our relationship.
Okay.
And in order to like make us feel like it was more of like a joint endeavor, I think like putting Chris first. It's like, come on, like, I'll give you that the first part.
That's news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, revealing all the secrets. And I wanted you to feel like it was like both equally our thing, because obviously we're two very different types of people, aren't we? So
Chris and it does work.
Chris
roll
and
off
Jacob.
the-
Yeah,
yeah,
that sounds
Chris and
better,
Jacob.
I think.
well,
I actually really get that though. Like you've come up with the whole plan. Like you're like dragging this person with you. You know they're probably a little bit of an introvert.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, if I put Chris first, it's like you did your part, babe.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
first place.
And I'm just like,
forever.
like, oh, this sounds fun. Okay.
I mean,
There
you
we
can
go.
kind of tell on some of the trends. It looks like you know exactly what's happening, and he's just there. He like codes account, and then something will start, and he's like, "Oh, okay, we're doing this."
At first, that's all the thing now. You're like, you play up to it completely right.
Well, yeah. Sometimes I truly don't know what I'm doing, but sometimes I like play up for it.
Yeah,
A little bit,
our little thing, isn't
yeah.
it?
Why not?
Let's do origin stories.
Oh.
How did you guys first meet?
Oh yeah, go on.
You're gonna be like, he's gonna tell the story, so I'm gonna say it before he says it. You see him on Instagram, you follow, you unfollow. Yeah, that happened like years beforehand, but that's not really a thing because that happens all the time.
Wait,
you know?
hang on.
Wait,
what's happening?
stop.
No, because you're gonna
Rewind.
say.
You just skipped
tell
over
it
that
and
whole-
try
Yeah,
out
that was
me.
a whole segment.
So me and Jacob are both actors.
Okay.
That was our first careers, our first love, and we were both working in the West End at the time in London. And I was in the gym one day, minding my own business, and I went on Instagram and I saw I had a follow from Jacob Maynard. I was like, oh, he seems nice, but I put my phone down because I was
Rude.
doing my like last set or something. So I thought I'll come back to that. And then I finished the gym, went to go back and follow him, and he had unfollowed me.
It was not within the space of an hour. That is
It was-
ridiculous. It was like
it was
days.
literally within an hour,
No
and
way.
I hadn't followed back yet. And that was the first time I was like, "Oh, that's so weird." So then I didn't follow him back, and then I
Okay.
think I saw you in a show, and I was like, "Oh, that's that guy that followed me." Didn't really think anything of it. Go on.
And then we started this show together.
Go.
At the time, we were both in other relationships with, these amazing guys, but it didn't work out. Chris was with his partner, I was with my partner, and we started the show. Subsequently, in that year, we both broke up with our partners. I had a really hard breakup. Yours was tricky as well. By the end of the contract, we were like, okay, the show continued on, and they said, would you like to go on tour? We were like, okay, this sounds amazing. So we both went on tour with the show. After kind of knowing each other for a year, I would say.
So it was a friendship.
Yeah.
Which then
100%.
I feel like those relationships are the ones that last longer. You know, like when it's like lust and passion and oh my, like I feel like they burn out quite quick.
Totally.
But when you're best mates and then it turns into a relationship.
And I fully wasn't ready or there for it at the time as well. I remember saying it. I remember I was having so many conversations like, I'm so not ready for something else. And just knowing that this energy next to me was like, oh, this guy's really cool. We were really friendly. We were in a little group at the time, weren't we? And when the show finished and they said, do you want to go on tour? I was like, that'll be fun. Let's go on tour. Went on tour, sparks, in the air, all that kind of stuff. Felt really right. I felt supported. I felt safe. It felt like someone was choosing me for the first time. And that really like lends itself to another conversation later on about, you know, my identity and like what I wanted growing up. But he was really choosing me no matter what. And it felt like someone was waiting for me to be ready. By the end of this tour, we then I was like, I want to go traveling. And you were like, oh, I want to go traveling. And so then we decided to go traveling to Southeast Asia as friends. We traveled around Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam.
But there were feelings at this point. Like, you could kind of tell, right?
really?
Nothing was like solidified. Nothing was like.
Did you guys kiss before you made it official?
We did kiss on tour, didn't we?
Yeah. We did. We started to do things like that, but nothing was. We didn't really know going even to Southeast Asia what it was going to be.
Again, because there was a few people else with us on the trip. So, but they were doing different parts. But we kind of like planned our trip together.
Yeah.
And by the end of that trip, then underneath a waterfall in Bali, he was like, will you be my boyfriend? And I was like, no. And
he said yes. And then, the rest is history.
Oh my. So the traveling aspect is really what solidified the relationship.
Yeah.
Do you just see each other in a different light, or was it just like, no, this is my person?
I think I like manifested in my head like years before. I was like, I just want to have this beautiful boyfriend that I'm like in the jungle with, and he's sitting in a hammock, and like I can see him and like the sun setting and all that sort of stuff. And then I literally remember being in Thailand, and we were on a balcony, and the jungle was in front of us, and he was stood there like just out of the shower, like the hammock was there. I was like, oh my god, this is what I imagined. And then from that moment, I was like, oh, this is definitely what I want.
I would definitely say you were obsessed with me there.
Aww.
Like, if you ask anyone at the time, he was fully hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, I wasn't playing it very cool. Like,
Oh, were you not? Actually,
I was like, I
really like him. Oh, that's so cute.
And I really had to unlearn lots of the things I had learned from bad relationships to like learn that's exactly what I always wanted and needed.
Okay.
Not the hard to get, not the dickhead, but the one that actually wants you. Yeah.
Chose you.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's our origin
Trauma.
We all have a bit of trauma.
Oh, God.
Wait, so what happened with the whole Instagram follow and unfollow situation? You guys just forgot about that, or
we
did
just
you
kind
like?
of brushed. We brushed past it, and then eventually I like brought up in
As a joke,
conversation like, ha, and he was like, no, we didn't, and I was like, yeah, you did. And then, that classic flirty banter thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute. What is the dynamics then, or should we guess the dynamics between like the avoidant, the anxious, or the secure?
Let you guess. Oh my gosh,
go on.
guess.
I think avoidant, anxious, but now more secure.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
I didn't guess.
Yes,
but yes and
I
no.
thought you would just have the same opinion.
Go on.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I would say. I feel like we both where we started. Oh my gosh, is so far from where we ended up
Yeah, no.
and where we will end up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To start with, for sure, anxious 100%. Like I mean, I have definitely like issues of abandonment and all that sort of stuff, and all this kind of worry around relationships. Like I come from a family that is sort of broken, like divorced parents, all that sort of stuff. So my idea of love was this huge journey that I had to like figure out. But certainly right at the beginning of the relationship, I was just constantly like constantly stressed out by it.
Yeah.
And me avoiding the relationship the whole time. Even when we were starting to be aware of our feelings, I was like, I know you're great. I actually know what I need and what I've always wanted, but I'm just so not there. I'm still heartbroken.
Oh, okay.
So I was dealing with heartbreak, but knowing I had something so beautiful in front of me. And then so we came back from traveling, and then lockdown hit, and then Chris is from Scotland, so he had to lock down with me, and then I was like, oh, I'm not ready for this, but I couldn't leave this guy that I had such strong feelings for. So I wanted to avoid, but life said otherwise, and then that really dropped off, didn't it? That feeling of like...
Yeah, because we were talking about this morning, like, we definitely are the most secure, like, we've ever been together, 100%. And that sort of avoidance...
Yeah, definitely not there.
And like, anxiousness is far, far less there.
How did you get to that point? Like, was it just loads of conversations, learning each other's like childhood and traumas? Like, what was the transitional period like?
I've been really fortunate. I've been brought up in a really incredible household where we communicate, we speak, we know how to say how we're feeling, and I will sit down and speak about things. I will preempt things. I will look so far in the future to try and see problems arising. Whereas
I'm like an only child, and I'm like, it's always been about me and myself and protecting myself and being the lone wolf and all that sort of stuff. And really, the thing that I've learned over these past few years is all about the fact that we are a team. And I think that I keep having to come back to whenever I have that instinct to be like, oh, you know, I'm alone, or I'm by myself in this, and da da da. Like, the moment we started to really communicate and be like, actually, we are on the same path, like so much on so many things, and learning that we are on a team is like totally
changed it, hasn't it?
yeah,
really?
like mind blowing to me.
Teamwork, same, you know, same goals, same wants.
Yeah.
Like, I always say to people, if people are asking, you know, for advice or having problems, I'm like, you should have like 2 separate train tracks in life, 2 separate paths, but side by side. You're on your own journey, you know, you go through your own tunnels and your own trials and tribulations, but you're side by side in that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it was about forging that and understand. And I think, you know, I've learned a lot from you in my own beliefs as well, with how I feel about and how we've got to that stage of where we are now. I just feel safe.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
that's
main thing.
Best thing.
It is.
It's
ever.
about safety, it's about trust, it's about being like, oh, I could make like such a bad decision or a mistake or something, and knowing that like we will figure it out together,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
trusting that we can like weather that and go through that.
Yeah.
That's what's brought us to brought me to feel like we're so secure now.
Well, I feel like the communication side of like a relationship, because I like to ask couples how they resolve arguments. I think that's like a really big learning for everyone. But it's interesting because the backgrounds, I think, is quite a nice way of introducing why you might come into a relationship in the way that you both might have. So your background is a little bit more, you said like tumultuous, like it's divorced parents, only child.
Yeah.
So how does that feed into your like attachment with like a romantic sense?
Yeah, like, I mean, I live with my single parent mum all like till I was about 18. We, bless her, like she had a really tough time like going through a divorce with my dad. I had to be the man of the house at like 7 years old. Like, I had to, you know, like I was the rock for my mum to be able to get through that. And like, that is something that it's not easy at times, of course, but through that, like, I think I learned all these things about what I thought love was, and to me it was like, oh gosh, this means it's shouting on the phone and, you know, arguments and upset and all that sort of stuff. And I just like, I learned a lot of that. And what was amazing about my upbringing is that I had everyone around me loved me. Like, my mum loved me, and there was never ever any time where like I wasn't well looked after or didn't feel love from her or my dad or my uncles. Like, I have my absolute hero in my life is my uncle, who is also gay, and he was this like rock
That's
I had
so
as well.
cute
That's fun.
to
Yeah,
have
he was
someone
amazing.
like I love.
My subconscious figured out, oh, love is this thing that might never even happen to me. I'm probably never going to have this, because love is this thing that has been taught to me that is not easy, that is difficult, that is upset, and all that sort of stuff. And it wasn't until I was like in drama school and I'd started to come to terms with myself, my sexuality as well. And I kind of like dove into reading about, you know, classic like self-help books and all that sort of stuff. But reading about this, reading all this like stuff about subconscious and what you teach yourself about love, and I remember having this epiphany, being like, oh, the stuff I'm telling myself about love is actually not real at all.
Interesting.
I've completely taken what I think I know about it, and that's not true. Like, why can't I find love? Why can't I find the person that I'm meant to be with? Why can't it be easy? So yeah, it's been like a huge journey, and one that I feel kind of amazed at sometimes when I see the relationship that I have, and because I thought, you know, at some point I maybe was never going to have that.
Well, because we're on it together now, as opposed to you being on it. It's the journey of like unpacking like anyone's past is not, you know, it's a continuous journey, but now I share that with you. Your worries and my worries are yours. And that's that feeling of feeling safe again. So whether you had, you know, this incredible upbringing or you didn't, those are both our, you know, journeys together now. So.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful, but there's like so many things that I'm like dissecting in like discourse analysis, because I feel like surely your view of like you being the man of the house and stuff has influenced your view on yourself as a gay man, like masculinity, femininity, all that kind of stuff. Like, what's that journey like coming out? And like,
yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, that's what I thought it was to be a man, and what it would mean to be in a relationship and be being masculine and all that sort of stuff has completely changed. We've had conversations about this where I present in a certain way sometimes, and you're like, why are you doing that? You don't need to be.
Yeah, 100%. I for a very long time when we first met, we didn't speak, did we? When we first started rehearsing and we were in a rehearsal room, I didn't speak to you. One, because I just thought you were that straight guy in the corner, very hetero. I was like, just not my vibe. And you were very like standoffish.
Yeah.
So I just completely put him in a box. And then one day he spoke and he was like, oh yeah, me and my boyfriend. I was like, what? Girl. You and your boyfriend? And I was like, whoa. And then like my whole world just changed of perception. So I felt you present very differently. And there are so many layers. You're a classic Gemini. Like there's so many layers to you. And often I really am luckily the only one that actually gets to see what you're truly like. And sometimes social media now. Lots of our friends, you know, always say Chris takes so much peeling. Like you have to really peel back those layers because there's such an exterior there. But I feel like the power of social media is that you feel that you're with your friends.
Yeah.
You're actually speaking to so many people online.
And there's not an immediate reaction. So you can kind of, you
Yeah.
can kind of do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I've watched you both for a very long time. And I think I quite like watching couples influence each other. And I kind of like that Jacob's making you a little bit, but like influencing your more feminine side and like almost like helping you just find, you don't have to be like flamboyant, but finding that balance that works for you.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice seeing that, like seeing your growth, like within like the acceptance of your sexuality. I think is quite powerful because everyone has their different battles with like toxic masculinity or heteronormativity, whatever. But seeing someone go through their own journey without it being so explicit is sometimes quite nice to just watch it and be like, oh, he's like, it's a little flick of the wrist there.
Yeah. But I don't even know if it's never been like fully like conscious. Like I've never been like, I need to hide who I am and and I'm not wanting to be straight presenting all that sort of stuff. Like not at all. Like I when I was 15, I figured out that I was gay, and like by the time I was 18 and I came out to everybody, there was never a point of me being like, oh, I really wish I wasn't gay and I want to fight this and all that sort of stuff. Like I've been so okay with it.
If you look back on pictures, there's definitely no hiding that Chris was a young gay boy in his teens. Like he definitely.
What does that mean?
He's definitely like insert picture here. Like he's definitely bloomed. Like you were a gay boy, 100%. It's just exactly. Like, and I think just puberty, like. And also, this is, you know, another conversation, but musical theatre and having to fit into norms. Whereas I grew up in London, was around theatre and predominantly a dance background. Chris, you were always going up for those like leading man roles where you have to present in a way that has been passed down to us of what is a leading man and what does it take to be opposite a woman on that stage. I didn't put that pressure on myself, whereas you were up for those parts and those roles, so that was constantly projected onto you.
Totally, and that still exists, like, even now, like, you know, and you hear all these, like, whether it be an offhand comment of being like, oh, you're gay, that's like, oh, it's always the lucky ones, it's always the good ones, all that sort of stuff, like, we deal with that all the time, but...
In many ways, I think there's, like, also like a privilege, like there's always like a downfall, upfall, but I think like masculine presenting gay people, there is like a little bit of a privilege there as well. Like 100%. I think it's something that's sought after. So what was it like? Was it a shock when you came out to your family, or like were they expecting it? How did that go?
my mum was the first person to like fully like address it with me, and she was upset about it, not because she was upset about me being gay at all. She was upset that she felt like I couldn't tell her, and that what I couldn't. I was like this thing that I was obviously trying to hide when she knew from when I was 5 years old, like dancing to the Sugar Plum Fairy music. Like there's something about Chris maybe that might,
Have you got videos of that?
Yeah,
I wish.
they're like buried way down somewhere.
Wait, we have them? I've never seen this.
Bring them out.
Yeah, but then and that was like, you know, hard for like a minute, but you know, there was never a question of, you know, she was gonna love me no matter what, and she was just worried about the world and worried about
like
and that's kind of like what happens. And then I told my uncle, and because obviously my uncle had never addressed it with me about himself, it was just you just knew.
Yeah.
And the moment I came out to him, he essentially came out to me and he was like, well, I'm gay too. And it was this like beautiful moment that we
That's
like
so cute,
and we connected in that way, and it was amazing. And then my dad, I mean, there's a whole thing with dads and stuff there, but like that took a couple more years to like come out to him. And I started drama school at 18, and I remember that first day when I was around my classmates, and they say that, oh, to be an actor, a great actor, you have to know yourself fully. And I thought, well, I'm never going to be a great actor if I don't admit this straight away to everybody and just say this is who I am. And that first day I kind of like made a kind of bit of a joke about it to, you know, make it easier, but I'd like came out as gay at 18 and then never looked back.
I've always had love. I've always had acceptance. My mum and my dad are the best parents you could wish for.
Aww.
And I was just always, you know, made to be accepting of who I was. That being said, there's always complications because of where our parents have come from and the time period, whether that be where they've come from in the world. My mum is Scottish and my dad is Bayesian, so from Barbados. And they grew up in, you know, the 80s, a time where, you know, being gay not only was looked down upon, but it almost had this like death sentence over it for such a long time.
Of like HIV and AIDS.
Oh my gosh, exactly.
All our parents know.
Exactly. Yeah. So then they just by association they equate us that ending happening to us.
Yeah.
So you almost have to. I always think, you know, people are so quick to cancel their parents, and I understand people have a really hard time. I've had a great time, but I had to allow my mum and more so my dad the time. Time heals so much. My dad now is a pastor, and I'm the son of a preacher man, and he loves me more than anything. And there's just love and it's support. And my brother loved me and defended me fiercely in the playground. He was almost like the jock type in the school.
He is like alpha male
jock.
Yeah.
Everyone loved him.
Okay.
I joined in year 7 and bullied like crazy, but I did not care. Oh my gosh, I used to like hang out with the black girls in textiles, and we always used to chill. We used to like crochet together, and they used to defend me, and he used to have my back. And yeah, and he always, in like hindsight, he said to me, you just was always unapologetically yourself. And I wasn't really affected with being gay until much older. And when all that stuff was really put on me, I was like, wow, okay.
When your unit is quite solid, like with your mum and dad, though, I feel like the outside influences don't matter as
Like
much.
boom,
It's
boom,
probably,
boom, boom.
Yeah,
Until
exactly.
like 16 hits.
Yeah, and you're like, wait.
Oh wow, boys, I'm that. And then when the actual attraction comes, you're like, oh shit, fuck. How am I going to navigate this?
Yeah.
Am I good enough and stuff? But at a young age, oh my God, not
fine.
care.
Dancing Spice Girls,
Oh
chilling.
my gosh. How did they not, to such a degree of like dressing up and such a degree of like femininity, and there was no way I was hiding it. No way. If anything, I've kind of like retracted a bit from that younger self, except for when I'm around the house, I am just like,
Yeah, behind closed doors, like even after the TikTok videos, there's some great material. We'll never see the light of day, I don't think.
So at a young age, it was all good.
How is it when you both went, because I know you've been to Barbados a few times.
Yeah, oh my God.
What is it like being gay there as a couple? Is it kind of like a little bit hidden? What is the environment
This is
like?
a really interesting topic for us, because obviously lots of our content is based around travel, and we know the world isn't always open to us, who we are, and there's complexities with, you know, always going to be complexities with race. Short answer is no. We've never had a problem. We don't have a problem in many places we go. It always feels like the problems are projected onto us through social media. Oh, you can't do that. Or when we're at somewhere, those sometimes comments pop up. But Barbados is the most loving country, you know, first and foremost. The laws that are in place in Barbados were, you know, put upon them through a colonial past, and they're just starting to shake off and trying to find their independence and what that means for that island. And that represents so much of the world. You know, Christianity was forced upon most of the world by the UK at a period of time, and people are just starting to find out, you know, where they fit, and, you know, it just takes time.
But the Bayesian people are some of the most welcoming, friendly, like hilarious people that I've
heard
ever
such good things
come
about
across.
Barbados.
They're absolutely amazing, and like
You just celebrated your birthday there, didn't you?
yeah, we went.
We're there a lot. We're there like 4 times
We're there
a year.
a lot,
So.
and like there's so we're never met with any sort of animosity or weirdness. But in saying that, we also are not the most public displays of affection type of couple. Like we respect wherever we go. We're gonna understand that there's people that have beliefs and things that are innately in them from whatever has been passed down to them or what they've grown up with, that we're never gonna, as you said, like it's about giving people time and space and respecting that
and humanizing it. You know, everyone, just like people have done previously with you know, racism. You know, when people emigrated to this country, all people knew was, you know, what was projected and what was put through media. So people fear what they don't know. So if something's constantly projected, or you're told something about, you know, queer couples, gay couples, then you believe it because it's all you've ever known. And it's our job as a couple, it's a job as our couple showing up online, is to day by day, whether it be down the street, change that narrative or change people's perceptions. So whether it us be having a conversation with someone in Barbados, or having a conversation with someone over here, or a family member of mine, all my family still live there, it's our duty to give those people time to just absorb that. And that's
I want to because I want to pick up on that point as well.
That's so important, because we travel a lot together, and we did a podcast episode in Dubai.
Yes, I saw.
Some of the comments were a bit savage, and we can get track to it. But I think like sometimes in the West we can kind of forget about like queerness and the gay community across the world. And what we always like to say is queerness is everywhere. And although certain countries, like, the laws aren't the best and there are issues, 100% would never disagree with that. Like, it's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. Like, the comments are like, oh, if you go to Dubai, you're going to get your hands chopped off. We know so many gay people and the gay community over there. Like, it's not as intense. And I think sometimes you need to, like, debunk a lot of the myths.
Projected onto you. We went to Mauritius recently as well. We were there for work. And it was only when we were there, we were like, oh, we're posting in real time. Everyone knows exactly where we are. Like, we should be a bit more conscious about this. Because we started getting lots of comments about us being there and, oh, you should be careful. And then we started to worry because it was projected onto us. But otherwise, we had no feeling, no inclination. Nothing was up. So I think it's about kind of like debunking it to yourself. And then, you know, Chris writes a really amazing Substack for us where he shares, like, you know, gay travel advice where we travel places. And we often just speak about our experiences. And I just think it's about that respect for the people of where you're going.
I think ultimately this kind of comes from people who tend to have like a background that's ethnic, to be honest, because even that time that you're saying about giving your parents time, I remember when I came out to my dad, like, it was like all my friends were like, well, you're his son, he should accept you. If he doesn't accept you, like, basically, like, fuck him and whatever, like, do whatever you want. And it was something in me that I was like, I understand, I don't agree. And it's almost the same way that I feel about traveling countries. I don't agree with the laws, I don't agree with his opinion, like, side by side, but I need to give him time because I took time to process my own identity.
Exactly.
So I can't just expect him to be like, my son's gay, yay. Like,
and it's different if their background is from a place which is more conservative.
Exactly.
Like, it does take
you have to give
more
them time to process, digest. What does it mean for them? Are they okay with it? Aren't they okay with it? Whatever. And it's the same with the countries. There are gay people in those countries, and you need to give it time. They're fighting their fights. We've had people on from Syria and like talking. So I think like there are people there, but you don't have to go. I think that's the thing. We're not
Yeah.
saying go to.
We're not
if you
saying
don't wanna
go with your
don't.
pride flag.
Yeah.
Like, yes, quit. No.
It's up
Yeah.
to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
where you want to go. Like, if you don't want to spend your money in Dubai, don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
It's forcing
But we
you
also
to.
we have an amazing friend in Barbados,
Oh my gosh,
and they're an amazing photographer, and they love the island that they live on, and they never have any sort of bad
Problems.
experience. He said the at the very most you'll hear a random old person from an older generation say a sly comment as you're walking by,
And he
you
kisses his teeth to death.
and that's it, and that's it, and that's all he gets. And I get that, like, not that will not be everyone's experience,
Yeah.
but
But you also
yeah.
get that.
Here, of course.
The UK is not
Hello?
exempt,
Yeah.
but sometimes
Yeah.
I feel like we're amazing. There's
Yeah.
I feel
No.
like we get it worse here than, or in the
100%.
US, as opposed to being in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Just by nature, I think people are a lot more judgmental in like Western society as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, also, I find that like in Arab countries, it doesn't exist. So they're not gonna say it to you. They're not gonna say like slurs or anything because they don't see gay as existing. Whereas here, because it exists and people know it and we talk about it, then you're
yeah.
more likely to get those comments or slurs or
Yeah,
things
that's
like
so
that.
true.
But as you as a couple, okay, there's obviously an interracial aspect there, as in your introduction. Oh, gosh. What's that like navigating, like through being social media presence as well? Because I feel like there must be a lot of comments in general that you have to deal with.
Yeah, I am aware that there aren't many interracial couples in any form online, and if they are, in order to, like with everything, people of color or people POCs, we find it hard to gain a following online. Everything always seems a lot harder for us, you know, whether it be, you know, music artists getting, you know, their record labels, or influencers, or even like, you know, acting in TV and screen jobs. It always seems like so much harder, and you have to prove yourself. And we're aware that we're one of the only, like, what seems like in the world, and for me personally, there's such a duty to show up and represent. And I've often been really proud that I am of dual heritage. I'm like, I always say, and this bothered my dad when I was younger, but I'm just as much white as I am black. And I'm so proud of both of my ethnicities. And I feel that in our relationship, I'm so proud of what we represent and who we are. And I love your culture. You love my culture. We spend all our time in Scotland and Barbados. And I think that shows. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, I suppose it is hard to the outside world.
It's crazy to me that it's a radical thing that interracial couples are there and existing. I'm like, really? Like, I've never, and that again comes from privilege, but that was never ever a thing that I considered going into a relationship or you know, with you. It's interesting online because, I mean, there's a whole thing online with people's comments. You're like, how much time do I give this? But the funny things to me that I see is when people like try and pit us against each other. Like there'll be comments that are purely just for Chris looks amazing here, he looks so good there, da 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 da. But it almost seems like targeted to be like, we love Chris because he's whatever.
Yeah.
And we're like going to exclude Jacob in any of our comments or any of our things to do with it. And I
like a conscious thing.
Oh,
to,
100%.
yeah,
and
make a
there'll be
point.
same with you as well. There'll obviously be lots of people that are for you essentially, but not for me. And that's something that's I've been like, I don't really get why.
Oh, and
You're
also
commenting
the
that.
toxic thing of like, oh, either it's the white guy that's ended up with the black guy, or the black guy that's ended, like, oh, you turned on your own, you turned on your, like,
I hate
that
that.
whole like diaspora of people who think so narrow-minded about
You have
love.
to date your race and you can't go outside
and
of that.
I just don't understand that.
And also, like, as if I would be like, yes, I'm getting all these great comments about me, like, as if, like, you're pitting me against the person that I'm in love with. Like, why would I?
what I'm doing.
Yeah. Like, what, I don't get what that is, but yeah, that's certainly interesting.
Going into that whole aspect of race, that is such a weird thing for me, because, you know, it's surprising to the world and people make comments about us and stuff, but it's also surprising to me that I am in an interracial relationship, because I honestly never ever thought it would be a thing in my life. I never thought, this gets really deep. When you were younger, and when I was talking about becoming 16, and when I was 16 and I was coming out, and I was like, oh gosh, I had such problems of like beauty and what was attractive to men and what is beautiful to, and what gay guys would find attractive. And I very much so was not attractive in the male gaze. For years, no one paid me any attention. And I just thought that, one, love wouldn't be for me. And then two, in the gay world, we put on a pedestal this type of gay, and your proximity to that is your worth.
Oh, yeah.
And I believed it for so long. I hear loads of stories about what people did to, make themselves well. I remember when I was like 16, like looking at bleaching cream online, and I had contacts in my eyes, and I straightened my hair, anything to get my proximity to whiteness closer, and trying to understand what that is because I just wanted to be loved. I wanted this dream of this Disney Channel love, which I never saw. So it's so wild that I'm sitting here in this relationship that I could only ever dreamed of, not only being in such a secure relationship, but sharing that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, to be where we are sharing, you have to be so secure in your relationship.
Yeah.
Because you can argue and all that kind of stuff. So it's just mad to me that we're here and we're so comfortable and it's so strong. And I know you shouldn't say this, but I just don't see race within us, and that's so beautiful because you don't see. I often start when we started dating, I was like, oh, are you with me for these reasons? Am I trying to tick a box? Is it just because you've never been with someone else, or are you just trying to try it out? And you were just so confused that I was saying any of those things.
Yeah. It's just that I like you.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But to me, I was like, no, but is it like, what do you like? Do you like this, or do you think I'm going to do like this, or is it? And it was so much unpacking for me.
Yeah, and I remember when obviously through the sort of pandemic era, and then when
Like
big
BLM and all
movement
that.
sort of happened, I remember people being annoyed when people would say, oh, I don't see race and all that sort of stuff. And it's funny because beforehand I would say I maybe was one of those people where I was like, I genuinely am not looking at Jacob and thinking, oh, he is that type of person, therefore that's why I'm going to pursue him. It was just because we had a connection. He's gorgeous and beautiful, and that's all that it was.
But I was convinced it was.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way.
Yeah,
But
because
now-
you'll
but
have
But I
some
get that the experience
Yeah.
of like in the past, like, is it a bit of a fetish? Are you thinking I'm this like masculine, like black guy that's like hood? And, do you know what I mean? Like,
100%. Which
do you
is
have
like
that
the complete
experience?
opposite from like I feel like I'm the opposite of so many stereotypes people have. We get this when we travel to America quite a lot as well, and like the American society of what it means to be a person of color is very different to a British aspect as well.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that sometimes in the States because people see me very differently to who I am as well, or who I identify as. But being interracial doesn't feel any different to us because I've never known anything different for me.
Yeah.
I think when you're with someone at a deeper level and you really love them and see their souls, I think that's a different conversation in that context. Like, then race isn't important. You don't see race because it's like, this is Josh. It's not a mixed race Josh. It's not a black Josh, not white Josh. I'm not an Arab Faris. Like, it's just us. And I think, but that context is so unique that people observing from the outside are never going to understand that because you're not their Jacob or their Chris. So I think for you guys to be able, and also I do think sometimes of like too much of that conversation becomes quite restrictive. Like when we're trying to be too open and too inclusive, sometimes we forbid that comment to say that you guys don't see race with each other. And you can guarantee people will be like, what do you mean you don't see race? Obviously you wouldn't. It doesn't matter to you because you're white and you know, you're denying your race. That could be seen from that context, but from within a relationship that resonates. You get
100%.
that because you guys are seeing each other's souls and not just like the physical being. But race side of it is like you can't deny the race, and it's not like you're denying either side of you. And it's important. And I think back in the day when people say that they don't see color, I think they were trying to deny the conversation, and they meant it from a good place. It's like, oh, I don't see color, I see humans.
Yeah, you get what they meant.
But you can't because you are black to people. You're not mixed race. You're black to people. You're not mixed race. So even though you feel like, but I'm also white, the average Joe doesn't really see that.
Which is why I think it's important you made the distinction between how we see each other and how the world sees us. It's very different.
Yeah.
We don't see it, but I'm very aware of how the world sees me. No matter how I see myself, and we always have these conversations. if I find myself predominantly, when we leave London, life is a very different story in terms of the rest of the UK.
Yeah.
And Chris will always pick up the slack if I'm feeling less than, or I'm aware of people making comments or saying things. He will always enter first. He will always speak to someone, or if there's a predominantly like white, but I just become very aware that I'm sometimes the only one, and he'll always step up in those moments. Then he sees how the world sees me.
Right.
Yeah, I was,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to say, ever since that kind of time when people were like, that is not something that you should say that you do see race. I like fully understand that now and be like, absolutely, I see exactly who you are, the struggles that come with that, the having to be like 100% ally with you to help as much as I can. You go
We
through
had
that.
this conversation the other day. I was saying how because all my friends are like, Jacob, you're just too put together. You need to stop stressing out all the time. I was like, I have no other option. It's the way my dad taught me. Is that my dad was the first of so many before he joined the church in his like retirement. He was a lecturer and a professor at university, and he was so well educated. But the one of 10 children, my granny could only afford to send one child to the UK for education. He was one of the only ones. He hit so many obstacles, and he said you have to constantly put your best foot forward because the world is judging you so much harder than everyone else. So I will always put such a high standard of everything I do and what we do together out there, because I don't have the luxury.
You have to fight harder than other people to get to that place.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this goes into the conversation I was saying earlier, whether you be a recording artist, a creator, an actor, people of color have to work so much harder.
Yeah.
And in turn, now we have to work so much harder, but I'm sharing that work with you. And whether you be white, black, it's now our journey, and it feels so good. I don't think I could be a creator alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think that's beautiful though, because you guys are like a role model for so many people that are maybe like younger in like an interracial like relationship, seeing how to navigate it. So I think like the content that you're doing is incredible. So definitely like hats off to that.
Yeah.
And I think like even what you're saying about you have to like fight harder or do more than like your white counterparts, we definitely see that even with like the podcast.
It's so easy as a gay podcast to talk about sex or drag queens or something like that, but because we're talking about intersections, we're talking about like different gay people's experience, whether you're white, black, whatever. I think like it actually takes a lot longer for people to follow that journey and digest
100%.
that journey because they don't want to hear it.
It's also vulnerable. It's a vulnerable part of our community. You have the aspect of being interracial, and then you have the aspect of being gay, which is a whole nother story. It's so many people are avoiding in an avoidance era, I would say, and that's why there's so much escapism in the gay world, because we're constantly trying to escape so much, and sitting down and listening to people actually say, oh, this was really hard, or this was great, is sometimes too much for the gay community or the queer community.
And even like socioeconomics. So like there might be a struggle, like for you guys, for example, there might be a struggle with like race or socioeconomics or divorce or whatever, but then you have that you're very good looking, your bodies are great, like so you have that as a positive that works in your favor. And I think that's quite interesting in itself, because I know with another guest episode, I remember thinking like, you must have everything, like what are you complaining about? And then when you talk to people, it's important because you're like, this just because in my projection is like, well, they're kind of successful and they're good looking and they have nice bodies, like shut up. Then you talk to me like, oh no, everyone has their own journey, like everyone
It's so mad because
yeah.
literally I think, and this is why it's so important for people to speak and communicate, because there is such struggle behind every single person, especially within any sort of anyone within the queer community. There's such, because of the world we live in, there's such struggle there, and just speaking to people about that struggle kind of makes me realize that we're all kind of the same.
And it's when we live in a culture and a society where we're just like quickly getting our fix on social media like that, sometimes like we can't get across exactly what our relationship is 100% of the day, every single time, but that's why like having like sit down conversations like this is so valuable
and so much more important than getting the quick sound bites of talking about sex and talking about like and this might be controversial, but sometimes people in the people have fought so hard for the rights that we now have, and I just think the gay community and the queer community can be so much more than you know, what the stereotype is sometimes. And like
You almost can't say that.
Yeah,
sometimes,
it
you know what I
is.
mean?
Like people have a problem with it. It's like,
yeah, and you know, all I'm trying to say is that being in this relationship and showing up online is some of the best way to show pride.
Yeah.
I was just living our life authentically and being who we are as a couple. I think
So
it's
nice to
beautiful.
watch it, because honestly, like sometimes it feels like, I mean, anyone can do what they want, but it does feel like to be gay is to party, is to do drugs, it's to talk about certain things, and sometimes it's just nice to watch you guys like paint your house green.
Green girl, no, salmon pink.
Do you know what I mean? Though, like it's just nice to watch like a decoration or a conversation, even if you do like a funny trend. Like it's just nice to just watch a couple living and existing, and not necessarily like. And it's also nice. It's important to use your platforms to talk about interracial, to talk about whatever. But it is also nice to just see a platform where you're just like having a chat about nothing. That's not important. 100%. Or going on a holiday and it's just fine, and you're just in Barbados. You're not politically in Barbados. Like it's quite nice to watch.
I think we actively try to do that, right? We try to use us living our lives as an example to cross over. To, you know, I think about all the people we meet that at first see us as who we are, and then are like, oh, you're together, like all the time, right?
Yeah.
People are constantly like, what? And then you see them working it out. They're having full-on conversations with us, and then like that drops in, and they're like, oh well, okay, this is not what I thought it was, and then they realize we're, again, what I said before, you're humanizing us.
yeah.
We're not this big scary thing.
And there's so many people that are so quick to like be like, oh, you know, like we where were we last week? Someone saw us in person and looked at our social media, and within 1 second we're like, oh, are you guys like one of those accounts type thing, insinuating that we were maybe like
had an OnlyFans or whatever.
OnlyFans or something
I
like that.
was like, of all the
People are
stuff
so
we do,
quick to like minimize
Everything to like this
and-
one point.
and it's like we never of course our mission statement is to be a platform and a representation for our community 100%, but also to be like we all live average, normal, everyday lives that the same way. Like we're all the same. We're all vulnerable. We're all just wanting love. We all just want to have a house and a dog and or whatever it is. You know, like.
But that's not to say it also like we party, we go out, we wear our speedos, like all that kind of stuff. But it's. I believe we have an opportunity to be so much more than that.
Yeah, that's just one aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I like to stay at home all the time. Sometimes you like to go out with the guys. I'm like, I'm just gonna stay at home. I'm gonna like
got Real Housewives, babe.
I play this game called Age of Empires, and it's this old like medieval
Empires.
game where you just like build cities. And recently, like Jonathan Bailey
It's
said,
the nerdiest thing I've ever seen.
It's like
in
almost
my
like
entire life.
Dungeons and Dragons.
yeah, exactly.
That kind of vibe.
And
Yeah,
I
okay.
just want to sit at home and play my Age of Empires, and I just like play my little civilian games. And Jonathan Bailey recently said that's his geek, and I'm like, oh my god, I love Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's just like-
is this you like online like that?
Yeah.
Jonathan, if you're
Oh,
watching-
Jonathan, if you're watching this, call me. No, it's fine. But yeah, we're so multifaceted. There's so many versions of me, and there's so many versions of like who I have been. There was a time that all I was doing was in my speedos for the male gaze to get attention because I just didn't feel good enough. And now I don't even go on my own social media that much, and my own personal Instagram, because it was created for me at such a young age, from 16, and just following and doing all these things I wanted, like people I wanted to follow. It's just not healthy for me. On our page, it's like just full of like home accounts and travel and you know, like amazing activism, and it's been created by who we are now, not who I was before.
Yeah.
People have talked about before about wanting to be known more. Like, I think the issue is we're the issue. Like, let's be real. Like, there's an issue of like, oh, you're more than your bodies. But then it's like the reason why people follow you is to stare at your bodies. And the reason you might look at someone is because you like their body. Like, there is obviously
it's all
an
in the
issue in the community itself. But to build your brand, I suppose, when you're younger, and to get that validation, external validation, I mean, it's great, but then I find that it might be quite hard, or I would think it would be quite hard to then be like, oh, but can you get to know the actual Chris and
Me.
Jacob. Like,
Yeah.
I actually am quite funny, or I'm really good at cooking, or I just want to, maybe I want to try and do a podcast, or maybe I want to, but you're almost like you're just that Jacob in the Speedos that looks really hot in that picture, or you're just that Chris and that. I think that's actually quite, I mean, I would never know. I feel like that's quite a hard thing to like try and navigate away from if you wanted to.
Hence, go back to what I said before. I don't know if I could. Although I want to move into it, doing myself, becoming more confident in my own content creation. But doing it as a couple is so much more empowering for me personally, because I actually feel like I'm putting something out there that the younger Jacob would be like, oh my gosh, this couple, that's literally like what I want.
Yeah.
As opposed to before, what was I like? Oh, it's just. But of course, I had to go through that to know where I am now. But it's so like vapid and so not who Jacob is now. So
We're also like, we're still like fairly new to social media in general. Anyway, like we've only been like our Instagram.
we started last July.
Yeah,
so
our
that's
Instagram was like last July, which is so fairly new. So
Did you start TikTok before?
we did start TikTok before, a
Yeah.
little bit before that.
and that was purely. What was it? We were literally like, let's just make silly videos. Whereas we started Instagram with the whole mind of like, oh no, there's something in this. Which I personally, I said I can see so many people doing this. Why is there no one? Why are all the creators that are of color or interracial not? Where are they really? Like, so let's be that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But there's you have like a certain amount of people that follow us for one specific reason. I think that's what's always so tricky with it. Like we try and move with lots of things and not try and be one thing. But as you say, there are going to be people that come to our page for one specific thing, or whether it be how we look or when we're on holiday in our Speedos.
But
or
maybe they
whatever
start like that, and they're like, "Oh my god, these guys are quite cool."
Well,
and then, like, do you know what I mean? Then it
that's-
becomes a
That's
different.
what building a community actually is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what,
I don't
like-
think, I don't know. I feel like there's probably a lot of people that just want to see you guys naked.
Oh,
Yeah.
and that's why people aren't even like the gays aren't even won't even hide like just writing on your comments saying send us the link. Like,
Yeah.
they're just not shy about it.
Like,
I'm like my mum is on this page. Like, how dare you?
totally.
How dare you? Like that's and people cannot believe that you do not have that.
yeah, because it's so normal, and there's not an issue for people who have OnlyFans or anything like that.
no,
Absolutely
no,
not.
absolutely not.
But like, there is that expectation now. Like, if you show any,
Well, you
type
guys
of
are
skin-
open.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
People are like dumbfounded with monogamous interracial relationship that hasn't got an OnlyFans, that's gay, that like we go out maybe once every like 4 months, like they just like are quite confused by it.
Yeah.
Even your like, I mean, I haven't seen many, but even some of the stuff that I have seen, your sponsorships, they seem quite like normal, like tame sponsorships. I don't have to mention them, but like it's not like the classic almost stereotypical things that you would see like a gay couple or a gay person sponsor. It's just a sponsorship for content creators.
But that in itself there is a world where hence why, there are gay spaces and queer spaces and bars and we need our spaces where we can feel at home and safe, but we have the right to exist in the world that we actually live in. And I often say to our friends, like, why do you find yourself getting anxious in like heteronormative spaces? Because this is the world we actually live in and we have the right to be here. So why can't we get the same part? We go to all these events and show up in these events, because why can't we have access to that on economical standpoint as well as visually? And we often find there are brands that will stay away from us as well just by association.
Yeah.
But we deserve to be at those tables
as a couple,
as a
Yeah.
couple.
not just as a gay couple.
Yes.
And I'd be interested to know the conversations that happen behind closed doors, like with management and brands when it comes to that.
Oh,
because
the tea would be there.
it was
Honestly,
so
yeah.
interesting. And like I saw recently one of the leading gay magazines, like
Oh yeah,
was-
the kind of
is it
the editor, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was
Gay
Gay
Times.
Times. He was basically saying, 8 out of 10 advertisers
Investors,
have pulled out from our platform now because they don't want to work with us, and it's like
It's mental.
that just to me is so interesting because gay men use skincare or gay men use like
We
whatever.
buy. We
Yeah.
are a good demographic.
The pink
Yeah.
pound, our money goes so,
So
far.
far.
And they want to target us during
Yeah.
Pride.
Yeah.
Like
no.
we give people, sell out stadium tours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyonce.
UT, Beyonce. Exactly.
The gays.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're missing out. It's their problem. We'll start our own skincare.
Nah. That's a
Brand.
That's a shout.
You're like, cut.
Got the idea.
He's like, that's a shout. We'll talk about it. Yeah. I want to just ask quickly, because I said about resolving arguments. We didn't really get to talk about that. When you guys bicker or argue, what do you think is the most important thing, and what have you learned in your relationship how to resolve that?
Chris.
So, an immature
Chris.
Chris, 3 or 4 years ago, I would do that thing of like, I'm going to avoid this situation. I'm going to avoid conflict. I don't want to live the way that, I remember from being a kid and seeing a divorce and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to avoid this. And that doesn't work. And what I've learned, the most important thing when it comes to arguments now is like if you need a space for 5-10 minutes, fine, go and take it, gather yourself, but let's resolve it in the moment. Let's communicate, let's be honest with each other, and let's try and not drag it out, because I think, like a past me would be immature and be like, I'm not going to deal with this, and would take it into the next day or something like that. And I feel like the sooner, because essentially we're going to resolve the situation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the sooner that we choose to show up for each other and be like, let's really discuss this in the right way, then that kind of saves us a ton of time.
And I've learned that I'm quite stubborn.
I thought you were literally going to say that I'm always right.
No, I
He has said that.
I am often right. I do say that. I do say that. I'm actually right about so many things. Like, I'm right about so many things, but I admit that I
Get
am
your point,
stubborn,
get your point.
and I have to allow the time for myself to understand someone's point and for them to understand my point. And also, at the end of the day, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do get that. Yeah, that's so interesting that these comments are literally like a trend of things. It's like people that don't want to resolve it there and then because they need their own space actually end up going away and making this story worse in their heads, and then it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
And then actually resolving, but given space, but then resolving it there, and then tends to be the kind of feedback and the advice that people give, and also perspective. How big is this argument? Like, do we really need to spend this long? If we're gonna inevitably just make up, let's just do it rather than wasting a whole day or whatever trying to make
so
up.
true.
Nice, thank you guys.
Thank you guys for joining.
That was
Thanks
so
for having
Where?
us.
I was like, no, keep going.
I feel like
can't
this
remember what we
happens,
said.
but like with you guys specifically, there is so much, because individually there's so much to talk about as
Yeah.
well.
Mm.
And I feel like we didn't even touch like
We didn't
half
even
the
get
shit I
on
wanted-
to half of the stuff I thought we were going to go. I was like, right, let's go.
We'll come back for another.
Yeah, we'll do part
Part
two
two,
at
yeah.
some
I
point.
want to talk more about career and
Yeah.
like musical theatre and like where that's going, because I'm just interested.
Yeah,
And then I wanted to talk more about beauty standards and things, because we kind of touched on it but didn't really get into
I
it.
completely agree.
What
Oh
stuff
my
did
gosh.
you guys want to talk about that hasn't?
I think career is an interesting point, and like navigating what it means to be actors. And Chris is having a really good year. He's been filming a lot this year, so like next year will be a big year for you as well, hopefully. But finding our way as being creators, as a job, as an interracial couple, a gay couple. Our job is now being creators and showing up at events. We were at an event yesterday that is such a heteronormative event that like we're the gay couple at that space. Like, are we token? Like, I'm so
Yeah, you don't know.
we just don't know.
like,
So
okay.
being creators as a job is now a career path for us, and with a year on, we're like, wow, okay, where will we be in 5, 10, all that kind of stuff. And
Where do you
alongside
imagine
acting.
yourself going?
yeah.
With
Together.
social media.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, we look up to. I mean, I love the gay family couples online. They're like, that to me is always like something that I.
And I like the
PJ
renovation
and
couples.
Thomas
PJ
vibes.
Yeah, we
It's
love
like, I
PJ
love,
and
I
Thomas.
love their everyday life type thing. Like, I think that's what amazing. Like, I feel like we'll continue to sort of share our life and where it goes in that way. I don't know. People say to us like, "Oh, do you want to do a podcast or do you want to make a brand?" and all that sort of stuff. And
We're just
We're
happy
not,
doing what we're doing
not
now.
there. Yeah, we
Yeah.
haven't really
Yeah.
been taught about
Like
that.
this is so
I
hard.
don't know if I like the little eye roll about the podcast.
Podcast gays.
No, guys,
Another gay.
You guys have got that covered. That we would not.
I
do
don't
nearly
think we
as well
could-
as you guys.
Be able to like lead a brand. No, lead a podcast like that is like that takes the type of person who has such a clear vision. Right now, we're just happy showing up as who we
Jacob's
are.
main thing is that we're going to buy a castle in Scotland, and that's going to become his entire personality.
I love that.
And that will be our.
We met someone yesterday who was literally just talking about that, being
Buying
like,
a castle.
she's like, I went to a castle visit and I just felt I belong here.
Oh,
This
you
is
wait.
me.
I'm gonna have a
Honestly.
manor in Scotland, and it's gonna have like. It's gonna be gorgeous.
That's
That's
fun.
good.
Can we come?
Do we get an invite?
We get an invite and an invite to the wedding when he gets
Love.
down on one knee eventually. When
Hurry
he does
it
up.
up.
Part 2, beauty stands.
Yeah, so excited.
Yeah, when are you going to pop the question?
No, cliffhanger it.
He's like, I thought it was gonna happen like last month when we were in Barbados. I was like, I can't wait. My brother got
on my
Get my
30th.
nails.
yeah.
No,
You could do it right here.
Yeah.
a podcast.
Do it. That would be so good.
Yes, okay, part 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
For
that
sure.
sounds great.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
guys.
so
Been an
much.
absolute
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you.
Oh
Bye.
my god, I'm like sweating.